Hi, my name's Alan Edwards, and in this development blog video I'm going to show you how you can paint on water onto a material. So here's an example here. This material on the floor is actually one tiling texture for each of these, and it's one mesh. But in my shader I've configured it so when you paint on Vertex colors, it makes the texture look wet by manipulating its normal map and the roughness map and making it appear a little bit darker. So if I paint on some more here, you can see that I can actually just paint puddles wherever I like, and I could make the whole thing look like a small pool if I wanted to. I can just add variation to this. So it gives you some very nice options for kind of breaking things up when they might look like they're tiling too much. So let's go into this material here. So this one is called Concrete Floor 04 Wet. So this is the material setup. It's pretty typical. We just have a diffuse and a normal map for the actual gravel. And I'm pretty sure I got this from the Kite demo or one of Epic's starter content packs. I can't remember which one. I'm pretty sure it's from there. So here's the specific wet parameters for this. So these directly correspond to something in this shader, which I'll show in a minute. So we have the base offset height. So that's the base height. So the height, I think that's a minus value, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, that's just the base height of the material. So I've kind of raised these off the ground a bit, so when you paint, then this is height 0 down here where the water is, and up here is height 5. So if I wanted to change that to something crazy, I can do that. And now it looks like we have strange, I'm not sure what the heck that looks like the Grand Canyon. So let's just click play. You can see that nothing is physically simulated here. This is purely an effect in the shader. So you can see down here, it's a bit strange because the player is not kind of getting caught on these. The player is just able to walk around as normal. So you can't take it to the extreme. I think 5 is quite a good value because it adds a little bit, it kind of breaks it up a bit, but it doesn't feel weird because you wouldn't expect to kind of jog on this stuff. It's not deep enough to catch the player. So let's go back here. So we have the wet color here, and the alpha here I've configured to be the level of translucency here. So here we've got it fully translucent, and if we put it down to 0, it's fully opaque. That kind of makes it look like there's a bit of a toxic waste spill here. So I think it was on 0.1. Let's put it back on there. Yeah, that's a good value. You can also change the color, so if you want it bright red, you do that, and it looks very weird. And I'll change it back. Also, we have the wet height offset. I've got that at 0, but if I wanted to bump that down, for example, I could do that. But again, if you make it too extreme, it's weird because it doesn't affect physics. This is purely an effect in the shader. If you wanted it to affect physics, probably a better thing to use would be the landscape tool. This is purely for meshes. And of course, we have the wet normal map. So if I wanted to change that to another normal map, let's just pick. What should we pick? Let's look for a cliff one. There's a cliff normal map. You can see that it's got a lot less smooth. So this one is very kind of detailed, and it's sparkling almost when I look at it with the camera at this kind of grazing angle. So I think what we had before was far better. Let's go back with flat normal, which is actually in engine content. There we go. You could also use just a vector constant in the shader if you anticipated that you were always going to have a flat normal for this, but I thought I'd make it configurable because you might not always want a flat normal. So let's go to the actual material, surface local wet. We'll start with the base color. You can see that it goes over to this lerp node, so it interpolates between A, which is our just the wet color, and B, which is the pure diffuse. And the wet color is calculated by taking this color parameter, the vector parameter, just appending the alpha to it as well. I think I did that because something was moaning. I think because, yeah, this was a float 4, so they both have to be float 4s. So it takes the color and it lerps between this color and the diffuse here, using the alpha parameter of this here. So, like I said before, if you change this to 1, it is completely translucent, and if you change it to 0, it's opaque. Let's just change that back. Okay, so that one's pretty simple. All of the others are pretty much just lerping between the original value and the the wet version. So let's look at normal. Normal just interpolates between this normal map, which is our wet normal, and the normal coming from the material here. Pretty standard stuff. Roughness is a little bit different. Yeah, roughness lerps between 0 and the original roughness, because we're just saying that when something is painted as wet, it's not rough, completely not rough. It's smooth, that's what I'm looking for. And specular we've got as a constant here. And also our world position offset. So we calculate that by taking the world vertex normal in world space, multiplying it by our offset here, and we also use the lerp here between, using the red vertex color, and we lerp between the, we lerp between the wet height offset and the base height offset here. It's been a while since I looked at this. So the result is something that's pretty powerful, and it lets you build in a lot of variation into your materials in game. And as I said, if you have a repeating texture like this on the floor, it can really help with breaking things up a little bit. You can see I put some flowers in this little puddle here, but it's really therapeutic to paint the vertices I found. But anyway, it's a really powerful art tool. I think that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching.